President Joe Biden said that the United States was weighing a diplomatic boycott of the Winter Olympics in Beijing over China's human rights abuses, a move that would keep American dignitaries, but not athletes, from the Games.
Yes, we've had a lot of meetings around the country, around the world.
Speaking to reporters as he hosted Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in the Oval Office, Biden said backing a boycott of the Olympics in February is, quote, something we're considering, unquote.
So do you support a diplomatic boycott of the Beijing Olympics?
Something we're considering.
The U.S. and other nations traditionally send high-level delegations to each Olympics. First Lady Jill Biden led the American contingent to the Summer Olympics in Tokyo this year, and Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff led the delegations to the Paralympic Games. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said there was no timeline for a decision by the president on whether to go through a possible boycott. The White House has said the Olympics did not come up when Biden met virtually with Chinese leader Xi Jinping.
Could you just explain what a diplomatic boycott would mean? I'm assuming that doesn't mean athletes. It means something narrower. And then secondly, coming so soon after the meetings with President Xi, what does that say about the meetings this last week? Were they not constructive that the president would be considering this big move?
It doesn't say anything about the meeting. They didn't talk about the Olympics during the meeting. It wasn't a topic that was discussed during the meeting. I would note that we've said from the beginning of this administration, as it relates to how we engage with China, that we see it through the prism of competition, not conflict. That is our objective, that the president is going to raise issues where he has concern, and he's going to look for areas to work together. And his lengthy 3.5-hour meeting the other night was certainly a reflection of that. Both areas where we could work together and areas where we have concern were raised, as you all know from the readouts following the meeting. But there are areas that we do have concerns. Human rights abuses, you've seen not just in words we've used, but certainly in actions we've taken at the G7 and other sanctions, that we have serious concerns about the human rights abuses we've seen in Xinjiang. And certainly there are a range of factors as we look at what our presence would be. So I don't have any other update for you, Amr. I certainly understand the interest, but I want to leave the president the space to make decisions.
Is it possible?
Is there a timeline for when the White House would decide about a diplomatic boycott? Is it weeks? Is it months?
I certainly understand the question. I just want to give the national security team and the president space to make the decision, so I can't give you a prediction of a timeline.
Commenting on reports that Britain was in discussion with its Five Eyes allies about a diplomatic boycott of the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympic Games for its human rights abuses, Zhao lashed out at the politicization of sports again and said it would only harm the athletes' interest.
中方一贯坚决反对任何将体育运动政治化、违背奥林匹克宪章精神的言行。有关炒作只会损害各国运动员的利益，这的确不是外交问题。相信你也看到，他近日出席了一些公开活动。
International advocacy groups and some members of Congress have called for a symbolic U.S. boycott of the Games in Beijing over China's treatment of Uyghurs and its crackdown on freedoms in Hong Kong. The participation of American athletes will be unaffected by the boycott.